So for this grilled sweet and spicy Korean chicken, there's some sweet components, some spicy components, and we need to get those done before we move on to getting the chicken all ready. And I am doing this the day before. I'm gonna be seasoning the chicken, making the glaze, and then tomorrow, right out at the grill, we'll get everything going. We'll hit it with that glaze at the right temperature, and it's gonna be fantastic. So let's get the glaze ready first. Now we're starting with 1 cup of maple butter. Now, maple butter can be made a couple different ways. One is you take some maple syrup, some butter, mixed together. This is actual maple butter, where you take it, you raise it to a certain temperature, you let it cool to another temperature, then you whip it, and it becomes like this sort of buttery cream. Now, I didn't make this, I bought it, and you can usually find this in your grocery store, specialty store. I got this at Trader Joe's. So that's what we're starting with, 1 cup of this. And to this, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of gochujang. Gochujang is a Korean chili paste, nice and spicy, and it's gonna go great with this sweetness. I'm gonna get every last little bit out of there. This is good stuff. Last ingredient, 2 tablespoons of orange juice. I'm just gonna take a fork here and I'm gonna mix this slowly at first to start to incorporate the thinner ingredients with the thicker ingredients. And we'll be putting this in the refrigerator overnight so all these flavors can come together. And then probably about 1/2 hour before we need it, I'll set it out of the refrigerator so it just sort of comes to room temp and is a little easier to work with. It almost has that look and consistency of like a buffalo wing sauce at this point. You can see that there. Nice and thick. Now let's take a little taste. Ooh, that's gonna be good. So I'm gonna cover this up. That's going in the refrigerator, and we're gonna move on to getting our seasoning rub ready. This is sort of the dry brine that's going to go on the chicken as it sits in the refrigerator overnight. And we're starting with a tablespoon of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of a coarsely ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of granulated garlic, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. If you don't want this sort of heat in the dry rub, go ahead and leave this out. And I'm just gonna mix this together with a fork here. All right, let's get our chicken out here and get it seasoned up. So I have some bone-in chicken thighs here, skin on. I got 10 of them here. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna flip them over because we wanna get some of this seasoning on the meat side. And if you've got any excess skin or flaps of fat, go ahead and trim them off here. Got a few I want to get rid of. I'm not going to go crazy worrying about it, but if they're big ones, just go ahead and get them off there. So that looks good. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I want to sprinkle some of my seasoning on this side. I'm going to save some for the skin side too, but I want to get some on the meat side. That skin side is going to get obviously a lot of the glaze when we grill this up. And I'm going to be grilling it up on the Weber kettle using the Vortex. I don't think I've used the Vortex in a while in a video. It's going to be fun. Just sort of press that in before we flip these back over. And you'll notice I have this on a sort of a cooling rack inside the baking tray. And I like doing that because it just promotes some airflow to allow the chicken to dry, especially the skin. This is one of the ways that you really can help avoid rubbery skin. You may not always get super crispy skin, but if you can dry that skin out a bit before you're going to be putting it on the grill, it really does help to get that rubberiness to go away as you cook it. Now some seasoning on our skin side here. See if we're neglecting anybody here. Got to get a little more everywhere. All right, this is going in the refrigerator overnight, uncovered so that that skin can dry out some and these seasonings can penetrate the meat a little bit. And tomorrow, I'll see you out at the Weber kettle. So you'll notice, same color shirt. It's not tomorrow, it's still today. The weather forecast changed, so I need to do this today. There's rain now forecast for tomorrow, and while I'll grill in the rain, filming in the rain is a whole other story. Now I've got the Weber kettle going with the Vortex, and I got some almond wood on there. Almond wood is really good with chicken. I really like it with chicken. So let's go ahead and get our sweet and spicy Korean chicken thighs on. Now the temperature I'm shooting for today is about 400 degrees. I'll adjust my vents to keep it around that range, and we'll check these in about 20 minutes. All right, we've been going for just about 20 minutes now. We're really holding pretty close to 400. Sometimes it's a little above, sometimes it's a little below. That's not gonna matter. And I just wanna get a reference temperature, an internal temperature now on one of these chicken thighs. So let's take a look. I'm just going to go to this one right here, showing about 133 there, about 140. The target internal temperature on these is anywhere from 170 to 180, so it's time to glaze these. Get some of our maple butter Gochujang glaze on here. Yes, I want to get this closed up as soon as possible, but when you're glazing and when you're filling, sometimes you got to have the lid off. All right, I'm going to check those in 10 minutes or so. All right, we've been going another 10 minutes now. I want to check these. I think we're probably getting close, but I really do want to get them to that 175-ish range. That's really good for thighs. Thighs are very forgiving because of all that fat, all that dark meat. And on thighs, a lot of the times, I'd like to take them too far rather than too little. I'd rather them be a little over 175. So let's go ahead, take a look at these, get a temperature, see how we're doing. So let's check over here. Now that's showing 162 on that one. That one's showing 171. So we do have a range here. So I'm gonna let these go another 7 minutes. And I think most of them will be in that good range for me then. So let's get the lid back on, give them that extra little time to really get up into that 175 range. If a couple of them are over 180, I don't care, they'll still be really good. All right, we've gone another 7 minutes. So that's a total of 37 minutes if my math is correct. And let's see how we're doing. Looking good. All right, let's get some temps here. Now if you can see that, it's 179 on that one. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna get these off here, get them inside. I'm gonna probably wait just 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're gonna dive in. So I grabbed a couple chicken thighs here. We're gonna cut into one of them. Let's take this guy right here. A lot of juice. So your bone is running right here, so I'm gonna try and cut alongside it to get a nice slice here. That is nice and juicy, yes. It's one of the reasons I just love thigh meat on chicken or turkey. You just get that juiciness. Our skin here is nice. It's not rubbery. It's not super crispy, but they cook so quickly. Let's have a taste. This is like juice for days here. This is amazing. Little bit of heat, little bit of sweet there in that glaze. The seasoning that we put on the chicken really is just that base of flavor that you're gonna get if you leave it overnight even more. I wasn't able to today because, like I said, tomorrow it's supposed to rain now. Filming in the rain, not a good idea. But right now, I'm really glad I got to cook this today because these are great. Oh man.